For the last 102 years since this event was established, multiple different cars have taken unexpected wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. During this video, I'll be breaking down some cars that weren't supposed to win. For instance, this could be an entry that unexpectedly had the pace, reliability, or strategy to do so, or it was put in a lucky circumstance after another entry lost the lead, which allowed that particular car to win. So with the next installment of this classic endurance race approaching rapidly, these are 5 examples of overall Le Mans winners that were unexpectedly able to claim that exclusive Le Mans trophy throughout history. Number 5, the 1980 24 Hours of Le Mans, Rondeau's astonishing victory over Porsche. The 1980 24 Hours of Le Mans was a race that went down into the history books, which featured a small team based at Le Mans winning this race overall against the giant German brand of Porsche. But how exactly did this victory happen? Well, the 1980 event was heavily impacted by rain throughout the race, and with limited competition from well-established brands, this gave the small Rondeau company a chance to fight the Porsches at Le Mans. Heading into this race, Porsche was obviously the favorite to win, as they were the biggest and most successful manufacturer on the grid at this point. Plus, they were already the defending winners, having won in 1979. During this event, the factory number 9 Martini Porsche driven by Jackie Ickx and Reinhold Jost was the car to beat. However, during this race, the Porsche cars, which also included this number 9 entry, had their share of mechanical issues and unlucky moments, with the Ickx and Jost car going multiple laps down to the Cosworth-powered number 16 Rondeau M379B, driven by Jean Rondeau himself. After Ickx had been slowly recovering time to the leading Rondeau car, Porsche eventually got back on the same lap as the plucky French entry. But it wouldn't be enough, and therefore Jean Rondeau and his driver Jean-Pierre Joussaud were able to achieve a historic overall victory at Le Mans in 1980, and to this day, this remains the last car to win overall that was built by the driver who won the race in the entry. Number 4, the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans, when Mazda brought Japan success at Le Sarthe. The story of the 787B's win is one of legends, with its unique sounding rotary engine, orange and green color scheme, and of course its unexpected achievement. This car became an icon that will be forever remembered for its success. But as I alluded to, did you know that Mazda wasn't expected to win this race in 1991? Mazda was definitely the underdog during this Group C era. After multiple years of trying to bring Japan to the top step at Le Sarthe, they returned in 1991 with the newly upgraded 787B to hopefully finally do it. But their competition was performing much better than them. In fact, it was actually the Sauber Mercedes C11 entries which dominated the majority of this race, while Jaguar and Peugeot also had faster cars than Mazda. Peugeot led early on from starting at the front, but their 2 new cars retired with reliability issues early on. Meanwhile, the Sauber Mercedes C11 cars, which started further down the order, eventually got into 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall, as was expected. While the Sauber Mercedes team dominated this race, the number 55 Mazda continued to be reliable and consistent to stay in a decent position in this event. And eventually, when it came to the outperforming C11 cars, they proved that being fast doesn't always mean that you can win. 2 of the leading Mercedes cars hit gearbox problems, while the number 1 car was left in the lead as the daytime hours returned. However, that particular C11 would retire later on from the lead with the water pump drive belt snapping, which gave the lead to the reliably consistent 787B, and eventually the win too. The number 55 renowned livery entry sent headlines across the globe, with a historic win for Mazda and Japan, and to this day, this remains the last and only rotary car to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans. By the way, before moving on, there are quite a few more details I didn't mention regarding Mazda's win, so if you haven't already, I recommend checking this video which I made a while back, which breaks down this incredible story. Number 3, the 1977 24 Hours of Le Mans. Porsche wins with the help from an unexpected third racer. Another surprising win at Le Mans came 4 years before the Rondeau victory in 1980, and while the victory was secured by the German giants Porsche, who of course had won this race before, the win was unexpected from the specific entry that claimed success. During the 1977 event, it was mainly a battle for the win between Porsche and the Renault Alpine entries. The Renault Alpine A442 entries looked very strong, and they were the fastest entries out on track. In fact, the factory cars locked out the front row, with the number 7 entry placing in 4th just behind Jackie Ickx's Porsche. And by the way, the unexpected result for Porsche was mainly because of Jackie Ickx, and the unique circumstance which allowed him to do what he did. You see, Porsche's main car to fight for the win was Ickx and teammate Henri Pescarolo's number 3 Porsche 936, but unfortunately, that car was forced to retire with engine issues early on. Now, during a modern 24 Hours of Le Mans race, this would typically be game over for the drivers in that entry, but in 1977, the rules were very different. Jackie Ickx, the driver of the now retired number 3, was allowed to swap over to the number 4 Porsche's team of Hurley Haywood and Jurgen Barth, and help them to achieve a big result, which was something that we would never see in today's world. With this car 15 laps down from the leading Renault Alpine, Ickx got in the sister entry and was instructed to drive the car as fast as he possibly could. And that's exactly what the Belgian racer did. During one of the most incredible comeback drives in history at Le Mans, Jackie Ickx flew through the field and gained laps back. And when the Renault Alpine cars hit engine issues, which actually forced all 3 cars out of the race, the number 4 Porsche stormed to a monumental and unexpected win at Le Mans. Remember, Jackie Ickx was not planned to drive this number 4 car, but after his and Pescarolo's Porsche retired, he decided to help the number 4 crew to secure an unlikely win and give Porsche their 4th overall victory in this French classic. Number 2, the 1995 24 Hours of Le Mans, when a GT car won this race overall. When we talk about unexpected overall wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, this is one of the first that comes to mind. During the 1995 event, McLaren entered multiple F1 GTR entries, but they had no intention of battling for the outright win, as in fact this was a GT car and not a prototype. However, this race was heavily impacted by rain, with the downpour going on for over 17 hours, which definitely had an impact on this event. The prototypes were obviously way faster than the production-based McLaren GT cars, with entries like the Peugeot-powered WR-LM94, the Courage C34, and the Kremer K8 Spider, all expected to be the cars battling for the win. However, the conditions out on track made life difficult for the prototypes and easier for the GTs, and McLaren's F1 ultimately outperformed them on reliability. In an unlikely conclusion, and as the race neared its end, a GT car now had a chance to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans overall. The number 59 McLaren F1 GTR was the car that was in the lead of this race overall and had the best chance to win it. But the number 13 Courage prototype with drivers like Mario Andretti on board was putting pressure on the F1 GTR for the win. But ultimately, McLaren were able to do the impossible, as the F1 GTR, driven by Yannick Dalmas, Masanori Sakaya, and JJ Leto, was able to take a historic win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and McLaren's win in 1995 is continued to be marked as the only GT car win overall at Le Sarthe. With the majority not predicting this car to win, the 1995 Le Mans is also regarded as one of the best races in the event's history, and it is a perfect addition to this list. Before revealing my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. BMW's 1999 Le Mans win. The V12 LMR surprisingly took victory for the German marque at Le Sarthe in 1999, following the drama from Mercedes and the issues for the 3 Toyota GT1 cars. Talbot Lago's lucky and difficult path to victory in 1950. The 1950 24 Hours of Le Mans had cars from Jaguar and Ferrari at the top, but Talbot Lago had decent reliability, and the number 5 car took over the lead from a Jaguar which retired with under 3 hours to go. Victory was obtained by the father and son duo of Louis Rossier and Jean-Louis Rossier, but they had a very unique way of doing it which went into the history books, with Louis Rossier Sr. driving almost the entire race. Next, Porsche's 2014 drama, which allowed Audi to take victory. In 2014, the new Porsche 919 Hybrid showed very strong pace to fight with Audi and Toyota for the LMP1 win. And by the way, this was a very competitive race in the top class. However, as this race neared its conclusion and the number 20 Porsche was leading with Mark Webber behind the wheel, unfortunately the 919 Hybrid got a broken anti-roll bar, which forced the entry to concede the lead, and to the disappointment of Porsche, Audi snatched the win with another 1-2 result in 2014. Number 1. The 2016 24 Hours of Le Mans. Toyota's heartbreak leads to a shocking win for Porsche. The 2016 24 Hours of Le Mans will be remembered by having one of the most heartbreaking finishes in the history of this event. In the top LMP1 category, the fight for the win was mainly between Toyota, Porsche, and Audi. Toyota arguably had the fastest car during the event, with the number 6 TS050 Hybrid leading this race. However, that particular entry encountered mechanical issues, which promoted the sister number 5 Toyota into the lead ahead of the number 2 Porsche 919 Hybrid. The Toyota team continued to lead this race as we approached the final lap of this 24-hour endurance race, and after multiple years of trying, it was looking to be Toyota finally grabbing their first win at the Circuit de la Sarthe after joining the grid 31 years before. However, in the most heartbreaking way possible, drama would strike. With 3 minutes to go and Kazuki Nakajima preparing to start the final lap of this race in the number 5 Toyota, the car stopped on the start-finish line, with the entry suddenly retiring with turbo control loss. To the disbelief of pretty much everybody, the shock on the Toyota team's face was heartbreaking, as Porsche's number 2 car went past the stricken Toyota and into the lead on the final lap to eventually win. While there were celebrations for Porsche as they achieved their 18th overall victory at Le Mans, this was a bittersweet victory as Toyota absolutely would have won that race, and in the most cruel way possible, they lost it. So, a truly unexpected moment in the history of this French endurance race. But just so you're aware, Toyota would get their redemption at Le Mans as they would finally win overall 2 years later in 2018. So that was a breakdown of 5 examples of unexpected overall wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. For you, what was the most unexpected victory across the history of this event? Well, I'd be interested to know all your thoughts in the comments below.